Howdy, everybody. How you doing today? Well, it's early morning, and my first video of the day. So if I look tired, it's probably because I'm waking up. I've had a couple people mention that I look tired in some of my videos, or I look unhappy, so I just wanted to mention I do a lot of them in the early morning. And this is like the first words I've spoken in the day, so I was going to make this last night, but I really needed to think it through when I slept. I used to believe in coincidences, maybe, when I was younger. As I've gotten older, and I learned about synchronicity, and then I'd heard people say everything happens for a reason. Over the past 15 years or so, 20 years, I've been really looking into things that happen, why they happen, when they happen. And I've learned something important over the years. If you want to believe that everything that happens is just by chance and coincidence, then that's how it's going to appear to you. If you want to believe that everything has a mystical quality and that everything that happens means something, then that's how it's going to feel to you. Without an argument about theology or a debate about atheism or any of these things, throwing all of that out the window, what you believe out the window, how do you actually feel about what you think? And observing the way that often people react when they say, well, things just happen, everything just happens, by chance. And then observing the behavior of those who say everything has a magical quality to it. The people with that appear to give everything a magical quality seem to be happier people. And that may be a shallow view, but I'm just giving a general approach. Those who try to put it this way, well, I'll just leave all of that out of it because it's irrelevant. I guess I'm trying to make the point, a roundabout way of saying that just because something happens to me doesn't mean that I believe that it was some divine plan. It doesn't mean that I think that it was meant to happen or anything like that. But when some things happen, there are too many coincidences to just throw out the window to chance. So a person has to decide. They can either believe it means something or not. And I know this has been a long explanation, but it's going to lead in here to the experience that I had when I was down there when we were out camping. The second night I was camping, I should say the second day we were camping, we had to drive to town to the store to get something because we'd forgotten. I forgot to bring a stove to cook the coffee on, and the fire pit was not working out. So we drove to the store to get coffees. It's only about 15 minutes away. I didn't really want to drive all the way to the store for coffee, but I did at the same time. And I'm glad I did, because on the way back, we saw that herd of elk. And a very surreal moment. Well, later on when we got back to the campsite, we were sitting around the car. My wife was sitting in the passenger seat with the door open, and my kids and I were just kind of standing there by her talking. And this butterfly comes, and he lands on the door, right next, like the door frame, right next to my wife. Now this butterfly was there for a significantly long time. And I actually watched, he would turn when my wife moved, and he was watching my wife. Now those who understand any type of, the spiritual meaning behind a butterfly is many different meanings, but it's generally death and rebirth. A lot of people believe that loved ones speak through butterflies, but throwing all that out the window and just taking it for what it was, eventually the thing flew up in the air. Now meanwhile my kid, my 2-year-old, was blowing on it and trying to swat it away and stuff, and it flies up and it comes back and lands in the same spot. Eventually it flies down and lands on her hand. She just got a new tattoo on her ring finger to symbolize for our marriage a couple days ago. It landed right there on that hand, and I got a picture of it. It was just amazing. But it didn't just fly away. It flew away and landed back on her hand again. Then it flew up, back onto the door frame. Then it flew back around and landed on her face, right on her nose. And it stayed there, and I was like, don't move. I got a picture of it. It was really amazing. And sure, butterflies do this all the time. They land on people. Whoop-de-doo, right? Well, that night, my wife and I took MDMA, and we ended up in our own little worlds, in our own cocoons, just laying there under the stars, rolling in and out of awareness. I didn't speak a word for 4 or 5 hours. Neither one of us did. We just sat there and just processed everything. Now, the next day, she told me that she had been tripping on death the whole time. It was a death-related theme in her mind. And for me, I was tripping on responsibilities of my own, things I need to get done, and things I need to take care of in life. Well, here's where it gets strange, because when I came home yesterday, I was researching the butterfly and the elk that we'd seen that day. And the butterfly, of course, represents death, the cocoon stage, the rebirth, a renewal. It wasn't like a literal physical death, but she said at one point she almost felt like a ranger might drive up to tell us something had happened in town or something, you know, the kind of weird thoughts that you have when you're out there like that. And my trip was about responsibility. And when I looked up the elk, the significance of seeing elk, it usually signifies family and responsibility, attainment to goals, things like that. You know, both of the most interesting moments of our days both correlated directly to the experiences that we had that evening, totally unaware. And I attribute a certain significance to that. Maybe I'm a fool for doing so, but in my heart it feels right. I'd rather feel right in my heart than feel right on paper or in a book or be able to prove things. And that's why sometimes science falls short. Things that you cannot prove over and over cannot be scientific because they have to be repeatable. You can't have an experience that is scientific. So therefore our experiences are set separate from our education, our knowledge. I should say, our academics should be completely separate from our awareness. Your experiences that you have in your personal life can never be documented or put down. I do the best I can. I've spent 7.5 minutes on a video trying to explain an experience that basically I could have come on and just said, a butterfly landed on my wife and we saw elk, and then that night we tripped on things that were related to those two animals in the spiritual world. It's not going to get my point across very well. Also, that day before that happened, right after the butterfly thing, or before it, I found this necklace. First I just saw a bead, or like a little glimmer, and it was off on the side of the campsite, in the bushes, kind of in the grass. And, let's see if I can focus in on it. It has, since it's kind of old, it's been there for a long time, it's got dirt on it, but I'm pretty sure that these ones up here, amber, and this one might be, I'm pretty sure these are plastic though. Yeah. Pretty sure. Anyway, you can tell it's an old piece, but right here they've got some, what looks like carnelian, and maybe some beach jasper and some white green jasper in here. And it has 10 in there for those who are wondering. And finding things. I found 2 pieces of jewelry that day. I found another big necklace, but it wouldn't have meant more if it was solid gold. It's a matter of finding something that has spiritual significance to me. And now I wear this totem when I do my art, or I'll do it when I'm doing my videos, or when I need spiritual insight. Because during the time I found it, we were out painting rocks and stuff, you know. And I feel like nature speaks to me. Nature tells me things through metaphor, through symbolism, and through a laughable Zen type atmosphere in my life. And the more I lend time for that to happen, the more I don't just dismiss it and scoff and say, it's just chance. The more I lend a magical quality to my life, the more the magic flows. And one might say, well, you're wiring your brain, dude. You're teaching yourself that mystical things matter, and you're fooling yourself. Maybe so, maybe so. But it just doesn't matter anymore. I'm happier when I believe that life has meaning. I'm happier when I believe that these little events that happen to us aren't just random chance. And I've fought with this for many years, going back and forth, like, should I be rational? Should I be a skeptic? Or should I be just a magical floaty kind of, wee, everything's great? Somewhere in between lies Carpo. That's my reality. I don't subscribe to the view that we should never have hostility or be angry, or or we should deny our negative emotions. Nor do I subscribe to the fact that everybody's out for themselves and nothing matters, that just get what you can get. I have my level that's somewhere in the middle where it fluctuates. One day I'm cool with being independent, and the next day I want other people in my life, and it's just how it is. Things change, people change. And as long as I don't settle down to one particular way of being, I'm usually happy. I mean, there are certain responsibilities that we have to take on, but not having too many expectations of the world to present everything in a rational, explained way, because that's not how things are presented. And you have to understand in your life, of course, how you're communicated to through, from whatever means, whether you believe animals communicate or just even communication with other people. You have to understand how to read the signs, speak the language. So when you're in the forest, you learn to speak the language of the forest. You start to learn the plants, the animals, where to look, what to see. And with a mystical life, it's no different. You have to be aware when these things happen and not just laugh them off as chance. The more you recognize synchronicity, the more it will present itself to you. So that's my take on that, and it's already been long-winded, so I'll part ways.